So it has happened that in the desert of Gobi Desert of China, they found a big quantity of caves, and inside one of them there was a false wall. Somebody one day broke the wall, and they found inside, let's say, 1,000 of scrolls that explain history, methods, lineages of any sort of Buddhist school. Zen is one of them. And, you know, what matters is that these ancient methods, that actually is not only the invention of a Zen teacher of the 18th century, Hakuin Zenjei or Hakuin Ekaku. It's not just that. It's something that has been part of the Zen teaching for centuries. I found in the history of all the Zen schools this, let's call it inner discipline of alchemy, because Naikan means inner alchemy. So we will see this evening with some example as well what we are talking about, because it's a matter of energy, it's a matter of intention, it's a matter of evocations, because of course you have to deal with your inner strength. My examples, living examples in this, they have been my teacher, Engaku Taino, that is actually an Italian guy, is Luigi Mario. Luigi Mario, now it is aged, I think, 80 years old. I could say that look like 60, 55 years old. In strength, in energy, in mind. He's a very creative person. I myself, I'm 60 years old, and I can still jump, run, climb, whatever I want. And this is thanks to, of course, their meditation and practice of energy. First of all, I would like to, you know, make it clear that, you know, there is a strange idea of perfection that is very usual in not only people that is concerned in religion, but even in practice of any sort of yoga or magic or spiritual discipline. That is a kind of search for somebody perfect that can teach you the Dharma or magic or whatever. You will never find this guy. Because, you know, we are human beings, we are Buddhas, we are a bunch of idiots, we are somebody who are looking for something, we are healers, we are a sick person, we are all of this. We just have to, of course, make a choice, but to accept how it works. We are eternity. At the same time, if we don't pay attention, we can do very stupid things, and we will do anyway. And we will do even if we are enlightened. That's a curse, you know, to be born as a human being. But it's a challenge and it's a possibility. What to do with it? Huh? Now, how is possible that Zen teaching could have something to do with things like energy or magic or alchemy? Well, etymologically, the etymological point of view, we already saw that because it's just in the name. Naikan means inner alchemy. We cannot do nothing about that. And is in the history of that. I watched a presentation of Mr. Stephen Skinner, right? And it was very, very, very good presentation about what is magic. No? And he was talking about making circles on the pavement, on the floor, as a protection of the person who is practicing magic. And, you know, somebody in Italy, because as you can imagine, Italy is a very magic place. You know, people still is practicing magic from ancient times. Actually, it happened that a man from Philadelphia found the roots in Italy of a strong magic tradition in Florence and in the Romagna hills, where already, still now, it was at the beginning of the 20th century, there were countrymen that practiced magic for, you know, for cultivation and so on, for cattle and so on. And he brought all these teachings in USA, and mainly, just to say something funny, mainly all the teaching of Wicca, they come from this guy. You know what I mean? The study in Italy and in Florence, but is another matter. Now let's go on the main matter. Now, we are talking about, you know, the circle of protection that people use in magic. In Italy, a friend of mine, a magic practitioner, he told me that actually he doesn't use it anymore, just do it with mind. Circle you can do with mind. Of course, in magic, as a student, as a pupil, they just have to teach you to make a circle with a chalk, I don't know, with a soft kind of, but you can do it with your mind. What is a circle? Why all this crazy, you know, Japanese teacher, Zen teacher made circles and so with ink? Because circle is not just a metaphor. Is what really voidness, shunyata is. This is the maximum power that you can display in your life. Make a circle, totally. You make a circle. You do it. You create the perfect manifestation of your will by the point of view of voidness. I will not teach you what is voidness this evening. Just as it could be useful as a cultural explanation that shunyata is not just nothing. It's something that is beyond the expectations. And when you practice meditation, you find a moment in which there is nothing, not at all. But then, after that, there is everything, and all of this experience, because this is experience in meditation, happens at the same time. You have nothing, and you have everything, and you have every single thing at the same time in your experience. So, I would say that you don't need to be compassionate. It's more easier to collapse in this state. This is the reason why Zen monks stay in this way. You know, they look so rigid in some ways, but that one is just they keep a position because they have to collapse. So they just use bones. But even bones go. So the key of any magic, let's talk about magic. It's not usual in Zen, but was in the history of Zen magic, and I will tell you about that. Everything is magic in the moment in which you practice meditation, then you have to do something in your life. That's all magic. Okay? Even meditation is magic, of course. The moment in which you have to do something with your life, you have to deal with energy. Because you don't have, how to say, all the energy of the universe. You have just a tiny, quantity. You had to survive to the tiny quantity of it, to the pressure that is on you, what people want that you should do, and so on. So, to evocate energy, to keep your energy working in you, flowing in you, and to share with people, I think it's a wonderful gift. Now, it was in the Kamakura period in which just Zen came from China, and happened that the first students of the, at that time, Rinzai Zen were samurai. China, especially through Korean mediation, had been present in Japan for centuries before the arrival of Buddhism. Taoism and Confucianism were already part of the culture and civilization of the land of the rising sun, and constituted the foundation for the emperor cult and the destiny of the nation. That's very important. All the Zen teacher, Rinzai and Soto, start to, hail the emperor, say, okay, we are here to keep everything working, to help you, and so on. As always, Buddhism fascinated people for its enormous variety of methodological approaches, the intriguing yet elusive philosophy, its iconography, and literature. But what most distinguished Japanese Buddhism was the strength of character of its devotees, combined with the popular as well as governmental request of magic, to which the ascetics responded with healings, divinations, exorcism, and development of unusual perceptive capacities. When the first Zen master arrived in Japan, the samurai soon understood that they could use these techniques as a source of strength and fighting ability. This would throw open the gates to a space of deep interior searching reached through war itself, without requiring them to understand anything deeper of the mystery to which, etc. Baldly put, Zen was the only form of Buddhism that would not disgrace the samurai. Zen teaching requires the warrior himself to be dead, the only condition that would allow him to slay other warriors. What seemed a bloodthirsty game paradoxically led to a blooming of not hatred, but valor and strength. Perfectly germane to the warrior's way or Buddha is the philosophical himself operative principle of Zen practice called Mushin. Mushin targets the sense of meditation as well as that of perfect action, an intuition translated in Buddhism generically with the term emptiness or void or ku in Japanese. The famous samurai Miyamoto Musashi affirms the following in his chapter, The Book of the Void, Ku, in his famous book of the Five Rings. Emptiness is called ku. Emptiness is what we cannot know. That's interesting. And yet emptiness does not mean the same thing as nothing. He who knows the peak also knows the void. Often when people do not understand and are therefore void of comprehension, they think that that is ku, but is only their illusory thinking. I'm shouting now because I'm Musashi, of course. Good exists in the void. When a neophyte practices, he thinks that he has discovered the true way, whether he claims it in the word or in religion. But only when he sets out on the path with total sincerity, and only then do the illusions fall away and may reality be seen definitively. And the day that the goal is accomplished, only then can one understand the meaning of ku. So, he was just a samurai. He was not even a monk. The Buddhism of Chinese masters was difficult, almost incomprehensible for the illiterate samurai. After decades of attempting to communicate with scribbled characters to distinguish the homophones well enough to make themselves understood, The Chinese master began to develop subjects for koan riddles and teaching that these uncouth men of war could comprehend. Kamakura period, the same in which samurai start to practice Zen, happened that the emperor or nobles asked to the Zen teachers some magics. So the first Zen teacher were from the Tendai school, Tiantai, because a huge part of the Chinese Zen practitioner and teachers, Chan, okay, from China, they were at the same time Tiantai students. We discovered it not so long. And so it was natural for the nobles and the emperors to ask for magic. What happened was that the first generation that were teachers from the Tiantai school, Tendai in Japan, they could perform some magics as a ritual magic because they knew how to do it. So goma with wood and burning woods and all the mudras and so on, you know. So after some generation, they asked the same to the Zen teachers. And the teachers didn't know how the hell do a magical ceremony. But they invented it because they were Zen teachers. So they didn't know what mantra to say or what mudra to perform. Happened that they obtained the same result simply shouting inside the fire. Because this is a typical Zen practice. In Rinzai Zen is typical, is part of the training to shout. That was something, you know, that really attracted samurai as well. I took some lessons in Kendo just to understand the discipline. And the guy asked me, okay, shout. And I said, okay. I said, okay, all the people, you know, turned and said, what the hell is going on? And he said, well, you have to shout like him. No. He said, you have to shout with all yourself. So you have to get out from yourself. You have to collapse. Then, in that very moment, shout for your life. Not just that you think, now I assault this guy, so I shout at him, so you will be... It's just one against the other, you know, nothing different. Shout for your life, of course, with dignity. That's the trick, you know. So this is simply the way in which you, maybe, possibly, you can live like that. No, it doesn't mean that you shout to everybody, of course, but it means that you put all your energy in what you do. This is part of the life of monks, Zen monks. With Zen Naikan, you have a training to to learn and to be challenged with. The Zen Naikan that I teach comes from Japan. The main techniques come from the tradition of Hakuin Zenji. But we have to deal with the Western mentality. Zen must become something. English, Italian, German, whatever. Now you see me dressed like that because, you know, this is something that represents me as a Zen teacher. I even had to ask to my teacher, that is an Italian guy, I told you, well, you have to go to USA, what if I call me Roshi? I was, you know, okay, what the hell? Why I should call myself Roshi? That is a Japanese sneeze, you know, Roshi, what the hell is it? What represents to me? You know, Hoshang from China means just you are an old one that can teach to other people. Kalyana Mitra, like in Sanskrit, a monk teacher, just you are old, you can say something. So Hoshang became Osho, then Rozo, then Roshi. It means only an old monk. That's all. We have to keep it in our life, to work it in our life, to be challenged by our life to use those techniques. So, when I teach to Western people, I must, first of all, let them know that we have to work with mind, because for us, mind is energy. In the moment in which you can concentrate, you can move your energy. Prana, working with prana, means channels, nadi, bindu, cursor, vayu, which means different kind of prana, and concentration. Chi is about your intention and has something to do more with the body. Actually, chi and prana are pretty the same thing. But we can say how we commonly, basically think to prana and chi is what I'm talking about. Because there are a lot of, value, a lot of chi kind, wei chi and all the other kinds of chi. I wrote them in the book because we talk about it much later. But what is important for us as Western is to use your archetypical mind to focus on the main archetypes. The first one is meditation. And meditation is, how we say, the experience of void, the experience of brightness, which means the ability of your mind, the power of your mind, and then bliss. Just to say something bad about Japanese, that I like very much anyway, but sometimes they put in Zen something that is not Zen. And they go on, generation after generation. Is the idea that you should not have bliss practicing meditation. Forbidden. What they want, what is the meaning of it? It's very simple. The meaning was, don't stay there. Just don't, fall asleep. It's so blissful. A lot of people, I'm sure, come in this library, and is in a state of bliss, looking for something more blissful, like that. Well, that's part of our experience, human experience, meditation experience, enlightenment experience, of course, is part of it. But it's not the main thing. So don't fall asleep there. That was the meaning of the thing. But, Jikijitsus, I mean, the disciplinars, they were not so learned. So they say, what are you doing? What are you smiling at? What are you, oh, come on. So they, and with a stick, just because he was enjoying meditation for the first time in his life, this poor guy, So, and yes, in Zen there is a lot of display of sticks, but now it's like, how to say, a sport thing, sometime during, when you practice a lot of meditation, you like to have some kind of, massage, and we use that. That is mainly what we do in the West, practicing meditation. Actually, I don't use it even anymore, only if my student asks me to have the stick. But what we need is to focus our mind. This is our energy keeper. This is our energy healer. This is our energy power to move, to make the energy flow. Now, we need example. You can say that now you can feel some pain. Now, at the moment, you have a precise movement that gives you pain, actually.
When I move, mostly at night, when I'm sleeping.
Okay.
Now there's tension.
Tension.
Right here. Yeah.
Well,
Since you've been speaking, something has been going on. I don't know what. Magic.
Just speaking. What if I go to the restroom? We don't know. Okay. Anyway. Well, it's not so. Okay, let's try. Let's just doing something, just to show that I'm doing something. Because we are talking about energy, just show it. Done. What do you think? First of all, you still have the shoulder.
The knot seems to
What happened? Nothing.
nothing.
Oh, good. Is nothing good?
Nothing is good.
How is it now?
It's not there.
Oh, gone. The shoulder is gone.
Shoulder is gone. I'll see about the arm at night.
Oh, yeah, all right. Tell me.
Yeah.
In the morning.
Yeah.
After that. Somebody else? Thank you. Okay. What, which is the one? This one? This one. Just the knee? Okay.
Yeah.
Move a little. Something change it. Move a little.
I feel it stiff.
Like if there's air cushion in it. Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just yeah. No, it's okay. It doesn't feel as painful.
So the pain is gone?
Yeah, it's just kind of a constant niggly
Yes.
thing.
And
Yeah.
now?
It feels better.
You know, the matter is that to deal with the health problems, we have to deal with the complete person. And she is unbelievable about that. She's a real genius. We work always together to heal people. And you see, it's a matter of finding the way to work with the whole person, which means all the story of the person, all the troubles of the person, his connection with the ancestors, because it's not just DNA somewhere on the, written somewhere. It's just something that is actually living in you, with contents in there. And all of this affects the energy and affects, at the end, the organs. So it's a path you go through, and in some cases, well, it happened that with only one treatment, a person that was in coma opened their eyes. After 10 days, one treatment, opened their eyes. My niece, she had a knot in the thyroid. One treatment, 3 centimeters, she couldn't even have problem of swallowing, Gone. This is when somebody, in some ways, is clear, is simple to work with. When the thing is more complicated, well, it could take more time. But at the end, if you are sincere, if you actually want to, well, I would say, have a kensho. In Zen we used to say so. Having a kensho means having a deep experience, having a peak experience in some ways. then one day you will have Satori, that is the peak experience without return. That day you get scared, actually, but it is something that, well, is the best thing that can happen in your life.
When you do healing, can you feel energy, the person, or can you see the energy when you do
The energy of
healing?
it. You know what? I don't know what to say, because for me, I think it's the same thing. Sometimes happens that we are together performing some healing. At a certain point, say, "Oh, this person happened this," and the same could be her that tells me what's going on. Sometimes I see a story. One day I was healing a person who was in a hospital, in a bed in a hospital, and this person was, he had an accident, and it was broken everywhere. But healing my hand was because I had to show something that I was doing. My hand stopped on the ankle, on the left ankle, but for what I knew, he had nothing in the left ankle. What happened? He said, no, nothing. Then I stay there, and in my mind come a kind of visualization, vision, let's say, of this guy as a child playing with cars, making accidents, no? Like with cars, and the mother, and I didn't know that was the mother, I imagined it was the mother, said, "Pay attention or you will, ti farai male, you will wound yourself, you will,
You'll hurt yourself.
okay." Wow. And they say, "Please let me know, your mother sometimes told you that?" And you say, "All the day long." Come on. Yes, he was her mantra. So one day I have to face it, and I ask him, "So, you want to agree with your mother, or you want to crack on?" And he say, "I love my mom." And he remained there. And he was an incredible man. Before of the accident, he was an incredible person. But in that moment, he lost all his magic. So we have to work with all this crap.
And when you learnt to use energy, did you do it purely through Zen, or did you study, Tai Chi or
Whatever, yeah.
And maybe more sort of modern people? I mean, where are people like Mike Sentenzio and people like that who
Yeah.
do experiments with
Yes.
energy? And
I began my Zen practice when I was 17. So, but I'm a Western, so I'm curious like a monkey, not a monk, but a monkey. And so I study a lot of other Buddhist schools, where I found that actually something that we chant in the Zen, retreats is the same. How they say in the Vajrayana Buddhism. You can find the same words in the eating moment. In the eating moment, they say they make an offering, the precise words of the practice of Chod of Longchenpa, Tibetan master, the same words, and they are
Tibetan school.
right. I have something to say about that. Anyway, so, but it's something that comes from my story as well, because I started to heal my mother, for example, and my father was sentenced to death by the doctors, and he was 81, and he lived until 100. Was sentenced to death, 6 months, no more. The doctor was a close friend of mine, a wonderful surgeon and doctor, and told me, well, don't make any surgery, because this is the cruelty of my colleagues, just to put across, to say, survived 6 months, it worked. So, and happened something else. You know,
You say it was pancreatic cancer.
pancreatic cancer, yes, it was. So 6 months at the maximum. So I hope that actually all of you searching in your way can become the healers of yourself and other people. We do it stubbornly as a profession, but we like to teach to people what we know. But what I say, we are Westerns, we have to be free in our way to research. So don't, how to say, don't be captured by ideologies. Just go on searching. Know what I mean? So yes, I practice some Vajrayana Buddhism. For this reason, I could talk about, Dzogchen and Zen, because they are in the same place. I discussed with Norbu Rinpoche, that was one of my teachers, one of my beloved teachers, and he gave me all the teachings about Dzogchen, and we discussed even about, Zen and Dzogchen. He wrote a book. I didn't agree on what he wrote. Actually, he was really, really an incredible man of knowledge. He knew a lot about history, but I'm sure that there he was wrong. He knew before of the actual scholars' discoveries a lot of things about Shanshung, simply things that comes in his experience of meditation. So, it's important to know whatever is your vision, meditation, whatever. First of all, meditation, not just go with the visions. Know what I mean? Keep yourself rooted in the naked experience of meditation. Please, I ask you wholeheartedly. Please.
What about auras? You're creating
Auras, you mean?
yes, or the
Yes.
etheric body.
Yeah. Well, actually I didn't practice like the vision of the colors like that. But sometimes I have experience of colors. So, if you have that path, it's okay for you. What I want to say is to keep your experience naked. So, use that, and at the same time be beyond that.
Yes.
Know what I mean? Keep your vision open, and root it in meditation. I'm here to say this. Any kind of experience you have, particularly in magic, keep rooted in meditation. I was with my friends, Dzogchen practitioners. Sometimes Zen people can be stubborn, Dzogchen people can be stubborn in a different way. And some of them, they freak out about, I had that vision, so you should marry me. That's not good. I saw this in my vision, don't do that. And it doesn't work. Know what I mean? Nobody knows, maybe scholars, that in ancient time the two parts of Zen and Dzogchen, they actually shared a monastery in Samye, Tibet, built in imitation of the Indian Buddhist universities. Then King Trison Detsen called a council to confront the Tantric and Zen traditions in order to choose the nation's religion. The Tantric teachers of India and Tibet thought that Buddhism was about ethics, rational analysis, and meditation conceived as a gradual path. They found the Chinese Zen path sinister, because it required only that one recognize the true natures of one's own mind through the straightforward, concept-free meditation. It is commonly told that the Tantric side won and the Zen masters were sent into exile, which is why the popularity of Zen declined in Tibet, while Zen conquered China, Korea, and we know. However, we now know that the Zen master never left Tibet. On the contrary, they stayed on as the inspiration of illustrious Tibetan lineages. The teachings of Moheyan and other Zen masters were unified with the Kam, Dzogchen, great perfection, lineages through the Kunkien, the omniscient, Ronzom, Choki, Zampo. The Dzogchen of the Nima was often identified with the sudden enlightenment approach of Moheyan, and was called to defend itself against this charge by avowed members of the Sarma lineage that held onto the view of gradual enlightenment. Whether enlightenment is related or not, this doesn't matter. Personally, I found the presence of Zen in Dzogchen in the same-day meditation practice. They start the practice of same-day with the A letter, with the colors all around in rings there, as a target for concentration. We found the same thing in the Tiantai tradition where monks practice on the A, of course drawn like Chinese do, but they are the same Sanskrit, language character, just to say. And same day we said, as developed over Zen Buddhism of the Southern School has developed over 14 centuries a great quantity of ritual gestures and sutra chants, some of them tantric, as we said. Several practice and great deal of literature that Zen was, something. The gradual style Tibetan Buddhism, we find moments of sudden realization too, called Hedewa, Ranrig of Chik Charwa in Tibet. Even there is a story of Sharza Tashigyaltsen, famous Bon teacher, that actually had a satori when he was a boy. He explained that he was simply a satori. He was struck by the teacher, he fainted, and wake up, and the world was different.